Good morning, students. In last class, we covered special economic zones. Now, in this lecture, we are going to discuss about export-oriented units, export processing zone, and SEZ, and how these three schemes are differ. Basically, export-oriented unit was introduced in India during 1981, and the main aim of this export oriented unit is to increase the export from India, to increase foreign exchange earning, and to create a employment. Basically, these schemes are complement each other, like free trade zone, special economic zone, export processing zone. It adopted the same production regime, same production pattern, but it offered a wide option in location with reference to your factors like raw material, port of export, and other infrastructure facilities, and the availability of land. They need basically export oriented units need a large area of land for their projects. Foreign trade policies and its procedures are applicable to EOU as well as in your electronic hardware technology park or software technology park or biotechnology park, which recently introduced by the government to promote these specific areas. All are commonly known as EOU schemes. Basically, those who are registered under your EOU schemes are required to export 100% of their products. Basic objectives of EOU scheme is to provide a very conducive economic ecosystem where the export will increase. It also help in easy the norms related to your taxation and all, and it also lead to inflow of foreign exchange, which help our nations to develop. It also encourage export oriented businesses. It also help in increasing the employment, and it also improves the supply chain management, which starts from your raw material to your supply of finished products. And export also mean to evaluate upgrade in the quality and services. It basically focus on R&D or technological advancement or skill development of the nation, so that the quality product of our export product will increase. Now, the basic benefits of export oriented units. They can procure a raw material or capital goods through domestic source, as well as they can import without paying any type of duty. They can also claim a reimbursement in GST amount whatever they have paid, and in case they have paid duty on purchase of fuel from domestic oil companies and all, they can claim the refund. And also they can claim the input tax credit on goods and services. They also enjoy a priority basis clearance facilities, and they are not required to obtain any type of industrial licensing which is required for manufacturing the items that are specifically reserved for small scale sectors in India. Now, the difference between them. Although, if we talk about export oriented unit and special economic zones, which are initiated by the government, both are to boost the export, but there are certain differences, like economic zone or 100% export oriented units can be set up anywhere in the country, but in case of special economic zone, they can set up only in a specified areas, which is separated and which is deemed to be outside the custom jurisdiction, and therefore they are treated as a foreign territory. And therefore, any sale made from with a SEZ to our domestic tariff area is considered as a export. Means आप स्पेशल इकोनॉमिक जोन से कोई भी सेल अगर करते हैं तो वी ट्रीट इट एज अ export, and any sale made by the EOU to domestic tariff area is regarded as a deemed export. And income tax regarding we get the benefit of income tax means you get 100% rebate in for consecutive 5 years. Then after you get 50% rebate for next 2 years. Then after that you can get a concession for 3 years in your profit, which is not exceed 50%. But in case of your export oriented units, you get a relief of income tax burden for 10 consecutive assessment year. And in case of DTA sales on payment of applicable rate of duty means you need to pay your taxes. ठीक है, डोमेस्टिक टेरिफ एरियाज में जो भी आप सेल कर रहे हैं यू नीड ऑल द रेट्स आर एप्लीकेबल, बट इन केस ऑफ EOU certain concessions in the duties are there, and you can utilize this duty free goods except your capital goods for 5 years in case of SEZ. But in case of EOU you need to utilize all these benefits within 3 years. And any sale from SEZ to your DTA, or you can say domestic tariff area, are very common. We can commonly we see that SEZ sales their product in domestic tariff area, but it's very rare to see that any export oriented unit makes sale to the domestic tariff area. Being a clearly differentiated area, there is a substantial control over the physical movements of goods to or from the SEZ, but this cannot be applicable in case of export oriented unit. And in case of foreign investment, 100% FDI investment is permitted through automatic route in case of SEZ. But in case of EOU, we need to take approval, and we need to follow a sectorial guidelines. And in case of investment criteria, no investment criteria is prescribed under your SEZ schemes. But in case of EOU, we have certain minimum investment criteria, that is rupees 1 crore in plant and machinery is prescribed. And trading units can generally set up is allowed to set up in SEZ, but it is not allowed in case of EOU. Then if we take supplies from DTA, units are entitled to exempt from any type of payment in CST or central excise duties and all. But in case of export oriented units, unit need to obtain a reimbursement, means they need to pay taxes, and after that they can claim the reimbursements because they are treated as a deemed export products. And if we see in case of SEZ, base establishment is not required to pay any tax, but in case of EOU has to pay a tax which can be claimed as a refund later on. Thus, it is clear that certain procedural differences are there between your SEZ and EOU exist due to the you can say rationale behind the formation of these schemes, if these two schemes. Okay. And as compared to SEZ unit and EOU are more obliged to follow the rules, regulations of foreign trade policy, as it draw you can say as it draw the strength from the same. Whereas in case of SEZ schemes, it offer a well developed areas. They have a industrial infrastructure with a plot, building space, power, water supply, transport, etc. etc. And in case of EOU, schemes can be established anywhere. We see EOU schemes or can be established anywhere in the country, which allow their optimum cost-effective operations with reference to the desire of large area or outlet for export. In easy language, we can say export-oriented unit can be set up anywhere in India where they find they get a more benefits. But in case of SEZ, they can establish only in a prescribed area which is approved by the government for them. Only in that case they get the benefits, and therefore we can say the decisions of operation in any of the area, that is like your SEZ, or you can say export processing zone, or you can say your export oriented units, can be take on the basis of only SWOT analysis. It means you need to do a SWOT analysis. You need to do you need to do a strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat analysis of the duties that or schemes or the benefits you are getting in these SEZ and EOU, and then after you will need to decide where we or which scheme we need to follow. I hope you understand the basic difference between the SEZ and EOU. It means in case of EOU schemes, we need to we are free to set up any unit, but they have certain procedural complications. But in case of SEZ, we get all the benefits. Our product and our area is treated as a foreign country or foreign territory, so we get that type of benefit. So you need to identify first which type of benefit is better for your business, and accordingly you need to take or you need to adopt that particular scheme benefit. In short, we can say you need to do a SWOT analysis before setting up any export unit. Thank you, students.